All right, this is the 30th year of the Fan, and if you were going to name the players, the names that have been mentioned the most on WFAN for its 30-year history, if he isn't one, he's in the top three. I don't know if it would be one or not. There would be a couple of names there that you would put there, but the name Darryl Strawberry would be at the top of the list. In early 10 years, it would have been no-brainer. It was him and Lawrence Taylor, but there's no question he would be at the top of the list. He has a new book, Don't Give Up on Me, Shedding Light on Addiction with Darryl Strawberry, and he joins us now. Straw, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great, Mike.
I
Thanks
heard
for
you went and visited the dog, huh? You went, you already did your tour through him. How's the dog doing?
He's doing good. When are you guys getting back together?
I'm not going to stumble over the question. I don't think anybody has enough money to put us back together. But what did he say?
He stumbled all over.
That's nothing new for him. All right. Don't Give Up on Me weaves Darryl's story of abuse, anxiety, and addiction with easy-to-understand explanations. Now, of course, everyone always wants baseball headlines, and you made a little this week comparing the Mets to the Yankees, your days with the Mets, days to the Yankees. Expound on your statements.
Well, it's pretty clear with the organization of the Mets. And it's not the players, it's not the fans, it's not Sandy and the new regime. It's the ownership. It's the ownership. My relationship is done with them. I'm broke. It's been broken. It's been broken for a long time. I just never said anything. I could have exposed them on some things that happened to me with them. And
how long has it been broken?
It's been broken a long time, but I just kind of gave them the grace that they needed. I never said anything publicly, and I'm still not going to say what happened.
Right.
It's been.
But why are you saying anything now? How come?
Because they deserve it. You reap what you sow, and we all reap what we sow, and just because the way they treated, the 86
Is this about leaving when you left, or is it more than that?
No. It has nothing to do with leaving.
It has nothing to do with leaving. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I left on my own. And I'm not here. I'm not here to make friends with them. I don't need baseball.
Right. I understand.
You understand what I'm saying?
Well, what can you tell us what will you share with us? What can you share with us about the relationship?
Well, it's broken. I'm never gonna be a part of that again. I'll never return to a reunion or anything ever again.
Ever.
That was my last one.
So you will never go back to the Mets?
No, I would never go back to them.
There's no way to fix it?
There's no way to fix it. It's impossible to fix it. I can tell you that right now because they've never dealt with it face-to-face with me.
Right.
But I've had to deal with it behind the scenes, and it's just not good. And
is this specifically ownership, or is this more than ownership, or is this specifically ownership?
This is just ownership. It has nothing to do with anybody else.
Nothing to do with anybody else. Nope. Not managers, not general managers.
Never.
Nothing.
None of them. No, it's just strictly ownership.
And not fixable.
It's not fixable for me.
Okay. And you want to tell us anything about why or anything, or no?
No. You know what? Just like I said, you reap what you sow, and you got to live with it. And they reaped a lot of things with a lot of different players, and I just believe that they're sowing it now, because, the way they treated players like myself, Carter, Knight, just the treatment that you get from them is just totally different from what the Yankees is all about. The Yankees is a class act. They love you, your family. You put on a Yankee uniform, you become a family. You become a part of the family, and that's different. It's different compared to what the Mets organization is all about.
See, that's hard for Met fans because, they still think of you as one of their own. And, they think of the 86 Mets. And the 86 Mets have a place in this town. They have a kind of a bad boy image as a team that was a bunch of guys who were wild men. Okay, it was a wild group. Okay, it was a talented wild group. Yourself, Doc, even Davey, Lenny, Backman, go down the line. That was the image of the team.
Well, let me just say this about the fans. This has nothing to do with the fans.
Well, the fans love you.
I love the fans. Yeah. I love Met fans.
I've seen that my whole life. The fans always they flock to you. They love you, the fans. They've always loved you.
But I will always be that way too, Mike, with Met fans. I truly love Met fans. I'm a homegrown Met player.
You've always been very approachable in public with people, too.
Yes.
Because I've seen you in the stands or anywhere else. You are always very nice to the fans or anybody
and always will be, because New York is home. This has nothing to do with Met fans. Never will.
So you'll never step foot back in Citi Field, you're telling me?
Not saying I would go to Citi Field.
Oh, okay, but you won't do any Met functions?
No, I won't do any functions.
No old-timers day, no reunions, nothing like that?
Yeah, don't even call me. I tell them to lose my number.
Really?
From the front office standpoint, not the people that work in the front office.
Right.
Jay Horwitz was great. Lorraine, they were great. Those are people I love and care for, because I was with them for a very long time.
How long have you been bitter?
I'm not bitter.
How long have you been upset with them? How long has this been going on?
It's been a long time. I'm free. That's the thing about it, is I'm free. I don't need Met baseball. I don't need any baseball.
Right.
I'm free. I love what I'm doing. I love who I am. I love the things I've accomplished in life after baseball. I've taken off the uniform. I no longer look at myself as a baseball player. I look at myself as a man of God, a man of faith, helping people and helping people restore their life. But personally, I've had this relationship with the Mets for a very long time, with some personal things that I've never talked about. I never went public. I could have embarrassed them about some things, but I never did. And I kept my character together, even though I went through my own personal struggles. I could have, buried them on some things, but I didn't do that. I just left it alone, and I took the high road on it. So I just come to this place now where it's just like, I don't want to deal with that anymore. I don't want that to ever be a part of my life again. And I don't want to have the anxiety over, ownership and what they're about. And it's not Fred. I need to say that. It's not Fred Wilpon.
Oh, so now we're down to Jeff Wilpon.
Whoever you want to call
it.
Well,
that's the only other Wilpon there is.
Well, it's not Fred. I'll leave it like that. Fred is a good man. And I respect him, and I respect what he did for the organization and what he did for the players.
Okay. Now, does that bother you not to have a relationship with the 86 Mets, or not really? And what about the players? Do you have?
I have no relationship with the players.
You still have, right?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with my teammates.
But you are cutting yourself off from anything that's ceremonial with the 86 Mets.
Well, it's not because of them.
Okay.
I've just come to that.
Is there anybody on the team that feels the same way, or just you?
I'm quite sure it's quite a few of them probably feel that way, but I don't know. I mean, look what happened to Wally. Wally been in the organization a long time, and he really never got a shot. And I don't know how they feel. With Lenny, he's on a different planet right now. So
Lenny's on a different. I think Lenny's always been on a different planet. That is Lenny. Is that a medical analysis? What you just gave us? Lenny's on a different planet.
No, I just think he's somewhere else. All
right. Now, from a baseball standpoint, how important? Before I get to all this stuff about that, we want to get to from the book. We're talking with Darryl Strawberry. How important was the second chapter for you? What would it be for you right now? Where would you be if you didn't have the Yankee years?
The second chapter of my life was a rebirth. It was a second birth. It was eye-opening. And when George brought me over the boss, he was incredible. And what I love about him is, not that he gave me the opportunity, is I love about him that he loved people. It's a big difference. You own a franchise. Do you love the people? And for playing for him and putting on the uniform, and the way he treated his players and the way he treated your family.
Claudio, he could be rough on guys, though, too. He can be demanding.
Well, he's very demanding. Well, he pays a lot.
Yeah.
He should be demanding. But, what he cares about family, he cares about your family and your kids and stuff like that, and he cares about the well-being.
But was having those moments, hitting those home runs, having that role on those great teams, was that something that you needed for where you were in your life? Did you need that to happen for you?
It was good for me. I really didn't want it, because I wasn't going to play anymore. And someone asked me to go down to St. Paul in Minnesota and play, and they said, you have a good shot. The Yankees probably want to pick you up.
Right.
And I started thinking about it, and then all of a sudden I hear about, who just passed was Gene Michaels.
Yes, just passed away. Great baseball guy.
He was the one went back and told the boss and everything.
He's the one who told me you could still play.
He went back and told the boss he could play. Came down.
He was a good analyst. He could analyze players. He really could.
He had no talent. He
did.
had an eye for talent.
He did have an eye for talent.
Yes.
When Stick told you a guy was a player, He was
Yeah.
a player. When he comes and say, when I go to Stick and say, Stick, can this young guy play? If he said, yeah, he played, that guy never didn't play.
Yeah.
If he said a guy could play, he could play.
He knows he can play.
Yeah,
he knows what he
absolutely.
knows what the guy can play.
He always knew if guys could play.
Well,
I totally agree.
He was the guy that pulled that 96 team together with all the different pieces and players.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they didn't trade the guys off because George was in exile.
Right.
Because they used to always trade the young guys off.
Right.
He had a fascination with the 86 Mets. He wanted to collect them. He liked collect.
He did, right?
Yeah, he did.
He wanted to take us from crosstown over into the Bronx.
He liked to do that. He did.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the other stuff which you've done in your life, where you've gone, and you talk about it, from abuse to anxiety to drug and alcohol addiction, and obviously to religion and everything else and what you do. And you're not just someone who's involved religiously. You're involved with doctors and clinics and all. You're dealing with everything. You're dealing with medical and physical and spiritual. You're dealing with everything. You're not just the guy who's a preacher. That's not
right.
That's not your thing. But tell me, you mention him at a young age. What don't we know about your life at a young age that you want to share with us? Tell me about what was impactful on you at a young age in your life?
Well, it was very dysfunctional. My dad was alcoholic. He beat the crap out of me.
Was he at home?
Brother. Well, yeah. And he beat the crap out of me and my brother, and he came home for the last time. He was drunk once, and he grabbed my mom, and we woke up, me and my brothers, and I was about 13. My brother was 14. My other brother was 15. And my older brother, Michael, told him, just get out of here and leave us alone. And he said, I'll kill the whole family. He pulled out a shotgun, and me and my brothers went into action. Ronnie went in and grabbed the butcher knife. I grabbed the frying pan. My brother Michael grabbed the bat. And we came this close to killing my father. It could have been a tragedy in my life from the beginning, which most people...
And you were 13?
I was 13. Most people didn't know about these things. All they saw me was in a uniform playing.
Right. Yeah,
they don't realize
with
I was
sweet
already...
swing.
Yeah, I was already scarred.
You were?
I already had issues
So when you come to
inside.
the majors, you're a mess.
Well, yeah, I already have scars and issues inside because my father said I'll never amount to nothing. Here it is. My pain is real. Brokenness is real, and my pain led me to my greatness, but my greatness would end up leading me to my destructive behavior in my life because I never dealt with the pain that was inside because my father never saw me play Little League. He was never around at the ballparks.
Right.
Was
he a ball player, your father?
He was a softball player.
Okay.
But he heard about me in high school, and all of a sudden he started showing up at the top of the fence watching me play. Now all of a sudden you see this kid,
right?
You know, that everybody's writing about.
Everyone's calling the Black Ted Williams.
Yeah, and he calls my brother up and he goes, I'm reading about your brother in the paper. Is he really that good? He says, yeah, you need to come see him for yourself. So I start seeing him stand up watching me behind. He didn't never come in the stands. He stood up at the gate and watched me play.
You knew he was there?
I knew he was there, yes.
Did it make you nervous that he was there?
No, I was never nervous. I was bitter. I was angry.
He made you mad that he was there?
It made me mad because I remember the beatings and I remember him saying I would never amount to anything.
Right.
And I used to think when I run around the bases and fans would cheer for me and everything, and I would hit home runs and they wanted me to come out and get curtain calls, and I just like, these people don't know me because I was felt broken inside. It was there.
So you didn't handle your early success well?
Well, no, not really. And people say you should get over that.
Were you angry then in those early years when you were having success?
No, I wasn't angry. You know, I was angry with him. I was angry that I never had a relationship. I never had a dad in the house.
Well, when you came to the majors and started to do well, did he try to have a relationship with you?
He did. And I kept him out of my whole life and my whole career.
Was he legitimate or he wanted money?
I don't know what he wanted, but I just never allowed him.
So you never allowed him in?
Yeah,
so you never had a relationship with him?
I never had a relationship with him.
Okay. And is he gone now?
No, he's still here.
And you still don't have a relationship with him, huh?
No, I mean, my relationship changed.
Oh, it has?
Yeah, my relationship changed because, years of my life and my brokenness with him and the separation and dysfunction. And then I go on to, become a different person, and I become a pastor.
Well, let me start with the drug, though. What year did you start doing drugs? What year?
I'm 13 years old.
You were doing drugs when you were on your way up?
Yeah, I was smoking marijuana maintenance without everybody going. I was smoking marijuana at 13. I was drinking 40.
All the way up, were you doing drugs all the way to the majors?
Smoking marijuana, yeah. In the minor leagues. I almost quit Lynchburg that year because I was playing down in Lynchburg and I was hearing all these racial things. And then one of my other teammates, me and him, we started smoking marijuana and just. They said I went AWOL and didn't come to the park, and I came very close to quitting that year after Lynchburg.
What were your early days like in New York? When you come to New York, what was it like?
Well, my early days in New York was good.
Did you handle it well as far as behavior, or were you out there doing crazy things?
Not at the beginning.
Not in the beginning.
Not at the beginning.
When did you start doing crazy things?
Well, my first playing trip, was not so great. With a veteran player, welcomed me to the big leagues. That was my first playing trip, and I wanted to fit in. I wanted to fit in. I was already drinking. I was already an alcoholic at the age of 18. So.
Oh, you were.
I was drinking already, so
okay.
Drinking was already there. But that's how I got introduced. Well, one of the veteran players said, "Welcome to the big leagues, kid," and sent me to the back of the plane, and he says, "Welcome." Went in the bathroom. He said, "Go in the bathroom." There it was. He introduced me to cocaine.
On the plane.
21. Yes.
Someone on the team.
Yes, veteran player, but I'd never say who it was.
No, you don't have to. Yeah. Not important. But that's when you got introduced to 21.
That's when I got introduced. Welcome to the big leagues. See, and I just wanted to fit in because I never had a father.
Right.
So I just wanted to fit in. My mother raised 5 of us by herself.
Right.
In South Central Los Angeles, and I just wanted to do something big and something special for my mom because I didn't have dad love. I never got a hug. I never got a pat on the back and say, "Well, great game, son," or "You made this mistake," or "This happened." I never got that. So,
were you ever? We're talking with Darryl Strawberry, the book "Don't Give Up on Me: Shedding Light on Addiction" with Darryl Strawberry. As your superstar status starts to ascend, and the Mets start to win, and you are the big slugger who everyone can't wait to see come to the plate and hit these long home runs. As this all starts to unfold, was there ever a time that you were settled, or were you always in chaos?
Well, there were a period of times I was settled.
There was.
There were a period of times I was settled. And when I was going through the run...
Did you play better when you were settled, or did you play better when you were in chaos?
I played better when I was in chaos.
You did?
I played better when I was wild.
When you had an edge, you played better then?
Yeah, I had a chip on my shoulder when I played wild and crazy, when I went out drinking.
Some guys do. Some guys play better when they're like that. Yeah, they do. It sounds weird, but they do.
I did. I mean, most of the time, that's the way I was. I went out drinking all night, and I popped amphetamines the next day, and I felt better. I just knew I stepping on the field was never a problem to me. Playing baseball, see, what people don't understand, I was a baseball player. That didn't make me a man because I put on a uniform, I was making millions of dollars. Right. I was a baseball player. And one thing I know about baseball when I was growing up in little, and when I saw Pete Rose play baseball, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be just like that. I wanted to dominate the game. I was confident in myself. I didn't worry about what anybody else was going to think. I didn't care who was on the mound. I knew I could hit anybody, and it's just the way I was. It was inside of me. When I stood on the on-deck circle, I had an idea of the game. I knew how to get a home run in situations. I knew all that because I built all that around me inside of myself. And so pressure was never that big to me on the baseball field. Pressure was big to me off the baseball field with life.
Were you handling things well with those teams? Did you handle the starting? You had some run-ins with veteran guys. You had run-ins with Keith and different guys, right, at different times?
Well, yeah. A lot of guys like to run their mouth,
right.
So I got a little temper. I'm a little ghetto. Got down inside of me, too.
Right.
They run their mouth. Let's do it. I'm not afraid. I was never afraid of anybody. So, it was just part of it. It's just part of a team. Part of guys being together, you're going to have that. Doesn't mean you don't love each other. I think a lot of times just people just took that out of context. I didn't like these guys. I love these guys, man. We went through the trenches together. We battled. We battled in different places together on the road when people hated us. We got into fights with other teams and people in bars and stuff because people hated us because we had swag about ourselves. And so I think a lot of times people don't realize how great we was and how good we were together. Baseball is a game where you get a window of time that you're going to win. And we had a window of time to win, Mike. And we gave up some crucial situations. 87, Terry Pendleton hit that home run.
Absolutely.
Straight away, sent off from McDowell.
Hey, if they win a wild card, you might have won a couple more World Series.
Yeah, no question.
You guys might have been the best team all those years. You just didn't win it every year.
95 wins a year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if that team should have won more than one World Series. There's no question.
And, people never gave Davey enough credit for what he had to handle on that team.
There was a lot to handle.
There was a lot to handle.
There was a lot of wild childs there. There really were. It's we're talking with Darryl Strawberry, of course. Now, and this is the part that I always wondered about, if you didn't make the mistake and go west, would you have spiraled out of control like you did in the West if you had stayed with the Mets?
No.
You know that?
No, I know that because I knew. Big difference of knowing New York and playing in New York and the expectations in New York. There's great expectations. So we all like, to pretend like we have it all together. all guys, baseball players, movie stars, everybody pretend like they have it all together.
Right.
And we can cover up good because we're used to that.
Right.
But I knew the fact that if I would have stayed in New York, I would have continued to be the player I was.
You would have.
I went west, and I got lost because when I went out there, it wasn't the same baseball. See, New York fans, they come early and they leave late.
They care.
Yeah, they care about and the passion is they let you know when you suck. And that was really good. I love that when they told me I suck, and guys stand over the dugout telling me, you suck. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I do suck right now. But they were letting me know how good you are and you could play better. And I love that. And then I got into this place in my mind when they tell me I suck, I says, okay, watch this. I'm going to hit 2 home runs off the scoreboard. I ain't coming out for no curtain calls.
Yeah, that's right. That's how I'll pay you back.
I'm going to pay you back, and I'm going to go down in this tunnel, and I'm going to smoke me a cigarette in between innings. I was crazy, Mike. I tell you.
But what was missing with the Dodgers?
It was laid back. They come late, leave early.
Was it just that? Was it the team, too?
No, it was just this lifestyle out there. I know it was a lifestyle out there because I'm born and raised there. And it's la-la land. It's laid back. They're more concerned about.
So you really didn't want to go, right?
No, I didn't really want to go.
In your heart of hearts, you didn't really want to go.
I did not want to go. That was the biggest mistake I ever made.
Oh, by far. By far. Absolutely. Ruined your career.
Yes.
Kept you out of the Hall of Fame.
Yes. That was the biggest mistake I ever made, was leaving.
Because you were like a mummy out there. You weren't the same guy out there.
It wasn't the same atmosphere. It wasn't the crowd. It wasn't the noise. Wasn't the buzz. It just wasn't like that. It was kind of laid back. And
you had some weird stuff out there, right? I mean, you were like, you were in somebody's car. You were doing this. And you had some weird incidents out there.
I had a lot of them, because it was home. I knew all the back
streets. Do you remember those incidents, or were you out of it completely?
I was just probably out of it. I was out of my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
When did you regain your mind?
Well, that would be years later.
Were you still playing? Or after you were playing?
After.
Did you ever regain it as a player?
I did.
Were you ever totally back and together as a player?
When I came back to the Yankees.
You were together
with
the Yankees.
Yeah, I was together. I had my life together.
Why did that work? Why did it work then?
It was just the organization. It was just the people. The people I was around. Joe Torre.
Was there any one person who helped you?
It was just the guys. Joe Torre. I had dear friends like Ron Dock, who's worked for the Yankees. He was in recovery. He's on the book too, and he was a guy that George put with me, and we did a lot of things together, to help me try to understand what it is to have sobriety.
Who were you closest to on that team? Who was your best buddy on that team?
Well, it was.
I liked all of them.
No, I liked all of them.
Because the amazing thing about that team, like the '96 team, is you had all these great players on the bench.
Yeah.
Yourself, Big Daddy, Boggs, Tim Raines. You guys were all celebrated stars. Now you're all you're like the role players on this team.
It was great.
With a bunch of guys like Jeter and Bernie and Paul O'Neill. And you're the role players where, hey, you know what? Tino's not hitting. Put Big Daddy in.
Yeah.
Hey, we need a couple of home runs. Put Straw in Baltimore. Straw hit 4 home runs in 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing. Put Tim Raines in. He'll get 5 big hits. It was unbelievable. Put Wade Boggs in. So they had all these great players on the bench.
Well, that was the greatest thing about having a team like that. You had a starting lineup, and then you had these guys on the bench. And what most people forget about these guys on the bench, we played in the big leagues for a long time.
Not only that, you were all stars.
Yeah, we were all stars, and we knew exactly what to do. It wasn't like we didn't know. And
you didn't mind a big moment either.
The good thing about that was Joe Torre knew this.
Right.
If he didn't know that, he could have stuck with his players when they struggled.
Right.
But he didn't.
No, he put Big Daddy in or put you in. And you go down, and people don't realize in the Orioles series, you wrecked the Orioles in that series. You went crazy in that series.
Yeah. That was a good series, but you was asking about who's the guy that you.
Well, whether there was one guy that kind of straightened you out.
No, it was just one guy. It was one guy that I watched, and I just really admired him. It was Jeter. I saw Jeter.
Even as young as he was.
I saw him, even as young as he was. I knew he was going to be a star, and I just knew he had it.
Because he was together.
He was together. And you just knew he was going to do it.
He was born together.
He was born together.
Right. His parents were good parents.
Parents were good parents. He came in here all together. He wasn't selfish. He wasn't self-centered, and he didn't have the arrogance about him. Guys would say stuff about him. He just let it roll off his shoulder. Man, if somebody said something about me, I'd be all up in their face.
Right.
I'd be driving them up in the locker. He didn't do that.
No.
And I was really
But they had
impressive.
a lot of guys like that. Bernie was the guy who
Bernie was quiet,
another guy that let things just roll off his back, right? Bernie, but they were tough players, tough competitors. players. Yeah,
they were tough players, but they went through the farm system.
Yeah.
And it's just the same as the Mets when we came through the farm system of the Mets. Myself, Gooden, Dykstra, Backman, all of us, that's why we developed like that, because we came through the farm system.
When you were
together.
playing with those Yankee teams and having big moments, talking with Darryl Strawberry before we break, when you were playing with those Yankee teams and winning and having big moments, were you still doing drugs or you weren't doing drugs? No. You were clean?
I was clean. I wasn't doing drugs then.
Nothing?
I had nothing.
Wait, did you ever relapse after that, or were you clean all the way through?
When I got cancer.
Then you relapsed?
Then I relapsed when I got cancer. Because
Okay.
I was going through chemo the second time after I had cancer. I lost my left kidney in the second surgery.
Right.
And, so relapsed. I was taking chemo again, and I was just like, I really don't want to do this anymore.
When was the last time you had any problems with any substance abuse? What year?
14 years.
14 years?
14 years. My wife got 16 years, and she pulled me out of dope houses. I was shooting dope, smoking crack down in South Florida, and she pulled me out of dope houses and said, "You're going to live." She said, "God's got a plan for you." I said, "Well, why don't he just let me die?" She said, "You're just not that lucky." So obviously, I wasn't that lucky, and my whole life has changed because of her, and I will always be grateful for her, that she was the one. Because what happens is when a person's in the midst of addiction, you need people to help you.
Well,
no matter what.
when you meet up with someone who comes to you, who has a problem,
Yes.
or you're brought in an intervention, right, or however that works, is it more that the people bring you in who don't have addiction that love this person, or is it that the person seeks you out? Which one works? Which one is more common?
Well, it's more I just come along,
But I mean, is the family bringing you in?
No, the family don't bring me in.
Is the person?
I think the problem.
How do you get to the person who's in trouble?
Well, a lot of them in my treatment center. So
Okay.
the problem is in America, what's happening is the stigma of addiction. Everybody makes it's like you're weak. You're not weak. It's a disease. It's an illness. It's like cancer. It's like anything else, and it's got to be treated. People say, "Well, he's weak because you got all the money." Money don't make you happy. You don't know what's wrong with a person. People don't understand when someone gets addicted. Once a kid alters
See,
their
people
mind,
who don't have money don't understand that money never makes anybody happy.
Yeah, I know they don't understand
They
that.
don't.
but
It
I
makes
do.
you freer.
Yeah.
It gives you more choices,
You
but
get
it
more
doesn't
choices.
make you happy.
What more choices you don't get when you have money? All you're gonna do is buy more stuff.
Right.
That's why I used to sit up.
But I mean, if you want to go somewhere, you go somewhere. If you want to get something, you get something.
Yeah,
But my point
of
is, it
course.
doesn't make you happy.
It doesn't make you
But
happy.
everybody who doesn't have it thinks it makes you happy.
They think it will. Yeah, I know, and that's why they look from the
Like when
outside,
you were
they think.
poor, you thought, and I'm going to get money, I'm going to be happy.
I thought I would be happy.
Yeah,
but
and when I grew up poor, when I thought the same thing, when I'm going to get money, I'm going to be happy.
But
Now,
did it make you happy?
I was happy then, so I'm happy now. I got lucky. But I'll tell you something, I'm happier now with it than I was before. I'd rather have it than not have it.
Well, but I'm saying
But it
from a
doesn't make you
standpoint-
happy.
I'm saying from a standpoint of a celebrity and athletes, why you think so many celebrities have so much money, but they have so many problems?
Because no one ever tells them no.
No one ever tells them no. No one ever
That's the
tells them they
biggest
got a problem. Why you think a guy like Prince would OD and die with everything he had?
Because
He had-
everyone around you surround yourself with not people who love you and will
And
tell
speak
you
the
no,
truth. They
people
don't.
who are sycophants who will just tell you yes, and that's why guys like Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley died.
That's
because
why they died.
surround themselves with people
There you go.
who tell them yes.
And people don't understand that. And that was the same thing in
They
my
don't, if
life.
you say no to them, they throw you out.
Yeah, that was the same thing in my life because everybody used to be like, "Oh, you're Darryl Strawberry." Yo,
Right.
you're a
They
great
gave you
baseball
whatever
player."
you wanted.
Yeah, but my wife told me, when I finally realized the light came on, she said, "You need to take the uniform off.
Gotcha. You're just a normal person.
He's dead.
That's right.
That's over."
You don't impress me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing about everybody else.
That saved your life.
That saved my life.
So when you meet someone who's not a famous person, who hasn't been wealthy and hasn't gone that route, and they have the addiction, how do you get to them?
Well, you got to get to the root problem, and there's something down there, some trauma, something has happened in their families, dysfunction in their families. Everybody makes their home look like it's great, but it's not. You got these suburban kids living in the hills and stuff, and their families all dysfunction, and now they're all addicted to opiates and heroin. Why? Because they're broken inside, they're hurting, because they don't know if they're loved, they are just because they have the money, just because they live this kind of lifestyle. They said, my parents are never around, my uncle molested me, my brother touched me in the wrong way. It's all these things that happen. I've seen these little girls come into treatment, and 18, 19 years old, they've OD'd 3 and 4 times because they're broken inside. If somebody's molested them in their family, all kinds of stuff happens, and people just don't understand. That's the problem. That's where the problem lies. And I think what has happened now, writing this book is a book about education. What happens to a person Why does a person get addicted and have an addictive personality like they do?
All right, this book shares hard truths and hopeful messages. What's the hard truth?
That people's life matter no matter what. No matter what color they are, black, white, no matter if they're rich, poor, their life matters. And that's what people need to understand. Who are we to judge? Everybody's pointing fingers at everybody else.
Before somebody who has an addiction gets better, what has to happen? What do they have to come to the realization of?
Well, they have to get truthful with themselves.
Which means what?
They got to get out of denial and say they have a problem.
They have to admit the problem, right?
They have to admit that they have a problem. You have to get to the place where you admit you have a problem. And then you got to deal with the inside. Because we can all look good on the outside. We can all dress up and make ourselves look good on the outside. But my inside was depleted and toxic. You know, if I never dealt with my inside, I never dealt with the real issues of who am I, not the baseball player, Mike. And that's what kids have to get to the place of identifying who they are, not what somebody else has said on social media about me. So they have a harder time now because social media and no one learns how to communicate, and everybody's all this and that and what they read. And that's when a lot of kids get lost and they believe the hype of what someone else has said about you. It doesn't matter what anyone says about you. They're going to talk about you anyway.
And what's the hopeful message?
That you get to have the joy, the freedom, being restored. The thing about it, what can
Anybody's
happen?
Fixable?
Anybody.
Or are there people that just aren't fixable? You meet some that just aren't fixable?
Some won't.
They want to die?
They just won't surrender. They won't surrender. See, I've been rescued, I've been redeemed, and I've been restored. And people could be rescued, redeemed, and restored to the wholeness of who they are if they only give this a chance, if they only allow themselves to have a spiritual awakening inside. Doesn't matter. You got to go through 12 steps, yes, but you still have to have a spiritual awakening. I didn't want to be a heathen no more. I didn't want to be a liar. I didn't want to be a cheater. I didn't want to be a womanizer. I didn't want to do all those things I was doing no more. So I had to clean house. You got to clean house if you want to be well. A lot of people just get clean and they still act the same and wonder why their life is still the same. I didn't want my life to be that anymore. I cleaned house. My wife showed me how to clean house. And I'm grateful to the fact that I have a wonderful wife who allowed me to clean house. And she was very patient with me. And she walked the road with me. Now we're tremendously blessed because I cleaned my house up.
Are you a person who is an expert in addiction, or are you a man of God? Which one?
I'm not an expert in addiction. I'm a man of God.
Would you call yourself a preacher? Are you a preacher?
I do preach. I'm an evangelist.
You're an evangelist?
Yeah, I go and preach in churches with 10,000. I just did that in California, and I'm going to.
Do you subscribe to any one religion?
Non-denomination.
You're non-denominational.
Non-denominational.
Do you lean towards any one kind of teaching? Is there anybody that you...
No, just mine. From the power of the Holy Spirit. It's down inside of me. That's where I get it from. I get the information from the book, the Bible, and I teach from there.
Do you do you teach from the Bible itself?
I do.
Are you literal about the Bible?
Am I what?
Are you literal, meaning that you know, some people are literal, some people take the Bible as a teaching mechanism. Some people take it literally, every word. Are you one of those people, or are you a person that uses it as a book of parables and of teachings?
I use it as parables and teachings, just like Jesus did. I've learned to use it the way he did because I realized that my life has been transformed. And
some of the things in the Bible don't really play to today. They were written many, many years ago, so they might not, play today, to today's society so well.
Well, once you get into it and once you understand, I never went to school, but you got to go. If you want to hear me come preach, you got to see. You'll be amazed because it's not me. I've been changed from the inside.
Really?
Yeah, it's a different person. We're just having a conversation here, but when I get in front of 10,000 people, I'm a whole different person.
Where do you preach?
I preach all over.
Do you have a certain church that is yours or no?
No, I go to church. We live in Orlando, but we go to church. I go to church there, but I travel, Mike, about 100 times out of the year, preaching and doing a lot of men's conference. I got like 4 or 5 already in Canada for next year.
Are you a person who has found forgiveness? Are you are you at peace?
Oh yeah.
Are you at peace?
Forgiveness, Mike. I found forgiveness. My father, 4 years ago, I was going to preach at a men's conference, and the man that beat me, the Lord sent me to the hospital where he was at to repent to him.
To your father?
To my father for keeping him out of my life.
And did you do that?
Yes, because the Lord says, how dare you not forgive him, and I forgave you. I laid in his lap and cried like a baby. And then I lifted up, and the Lord says, now lead him to the Lord. And I said the sinner prayer with him. I led my father to the Lord, the man that beat me.
So maybe there's hope for the Mets. Maybe you'll have a reconciliation with the Mets. Maybe you'll have some forgiveness for the Mets.
You're so funny, Mike.
I set you up good. I did that.
You did set me up for that, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I did. I admit I did. But
I'll tell you, like
maybe
this.
you will. Maybe you'll have some forgiveness for them.
Well, it's not just all them. It's just one person.
Jeff, okay. We got to that. Yeah.
That's all it is.
He ticked you off somewhere.
Well,
yeah, I'm not trying to get it out of you. You don't have to tell us.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get into your business. So that's your thing. So, but there is right now in this country. Forget ball players who are able to go out and buy lots of drugs and have big parties and get hooked on cocaine. There is an epidemic in this country of painkiller prescription drugs, from teenagers stealing them out of medicine cabinets to people who go to a doctor and get hooked on. They've made the painkillers too good or whatever they are. The bottom line is that is an enormous epidemic in this country.
Yes.
What do you have to say about that?
Well, that's why we came out with this book, our team, John Picciano, myself, Ron Doc, because we've experienced this firsthand. I travel across the country, rallies of 1,700 people with governors of Penn State, Pennsylvania,
right,
where they're going to have 4,500 deaths probably this year.
Yeah, New Hampshire's got a huge crisis. Go down these states, they have incredible problems.
Ohio.
Yes.
I was in Ohio. They had 30 ODs in 1 week.
Wow.
I was out there speaking. And the problem is like I'm trying to reach President Trump to get on his team so I can bring back the education.
You probably know Trump.
I do know Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I know him. We've seen him in a million games. I've sat next to him at games. I'm sure you know him well.
I love him, and I wish I could get on his team because the people this is not about political. This is about a real problem. This is about answers. This is about people going in that know about addiction, that know what needs to take place. You got to go back into the schools, the junior high schools, the high schools, and you got to bring education. You got to bring programs in there. You got to bring people like myself and a group of guys that are recovering addicts, that we go on to tell the kids the danger of addiction. What has happened is opiates have taken over our younger generation of people. Because people don't understand. You can go, well, how does it happen? First, parents, you need to get on board and don't let your child get a
clean out your medicine cabinet.
Don't let them get a prescription at all.
That's right. If he gets hurt, don't give him painkillers.
That's what what has happened. They've given him pain pills.
Give him Tylenol or something.
Give him Tylenol. Tell him go lay on the couch and go to sleep.
Right.
And what's happening is that's what I'm saying. We need to educate people about addiction. I think we educate them about everything else.
Right.
But we don't tell them that pills, opiate pills are going to kill them. Because once anything, people don't understand. I'm a recovering addict. Once anything alters your mind, when you're 15 years old, you're going to love it. When you're 16, 18, 17 years old, you're going to love it. Because the opiates are stronger than anything than ever now. They're not like they used to be.
Yep.
They're stronger. That's the kick. They reel them in and get them addicted. And I had kids, that I've met that has.
And they're expensive.
They're expensive.
Then you got steel, or you got to go to heroin.
They use the insurance.
And they go to heroin, too.
They go to heroin,
because it's cheaper, right?
And they use the insurance. They use the parents' insurance, and they go get the pills. I had a kid in Long Island that I met, and he was popping 30 pills a day. Oof. I took him, and I put him right in my treatment center, and I put him in there for free. I said,
"Where's your treatment center?"
Down in Orlando and DeLand. I have two. One down in Orlando, St. Cloud, and one in DeLand.
And they're like real.
Recovery.
So like they put people in there, like they like there's medical insurance will put people in there and stuff like that. Okay, that's your business. You're running a business.
Yeah, I'm in a business with them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I'm not in the business part.
You got to live. How do you live? I mean, how do you make money?
Ministry.
Wait. How do you make money to travel, eat, live? I mean, what's your source of income?
Preaching.
Is it really? Who pays you?
I'm blessed. The churches.
The churches pay you?
Yeah.
They pay you to preach?
Yes, they do.
Oh, I mean, did you save any of your money or no?
No, I spent it all.
Okay, I figured you did.
Plus, my two wives got a bunch of it.
And you made, listen, you didn't make the crazy money. I mean, you didn't make the $30 million a year, $28 million a year. You probably made, what, $4 million tops or something like that? $5 million? $5?
Yeah.
Which is a lot of money, but I'm not saying, but it's not $20 million like they do now.
Well, yeah. I don't even care about money.
No, but I'm saying, but you got to live, though. How do you live?
I'm happy. We're blessed. I'm very blessed.
But someone's got to pay the bills.
I know it pays. Believe me,
preaching pays the bills.
It pays it.
Okay.
More than you can imagine.
Really?
Yes, I am tremendously blessed. Me and my wife, we live a wonderful life, and we're happy, and we're just happy the fact that
these
we can
churches
help
invite you to come.
Oh yeah. Oh,
they do.
Yeah, of course.
Really? I'm asking how it works. I don't know how it works.
All they do is go to my website, strawberryministries.org, and they pull up and they fill out a form and they.
How many speeches or how many?
Out of a year?
How many do a year?
I'll probably do about 100 a year.
100 a year?
Yeah.
And you travel all over the country?
Travel all over the country.
Okay. And they just come and say, hey, would you come to our church?
They fill out the form and they say they want me to come for like a weekend.
Right.
They want me to preach on a Saturday, and they don't want me to preach three services on the Sunday.
Wow. And so you'll do a whole weekend at some place?
Whole weekend.
Gotcha. And will you stay and meet the people or not really? You will?
Oh, yeah. I greet the people afterwards. I'm a people person.
No, you definitely are, because if anyone ever comes up to you in the stands, they'll see that you always are very nice to them. I've sat next to the game, so you are always very nice to all the fans who come over to see you.
I love people.
That's what I mean. You're never not nice to the fans. You always are. And I've been at big events with you where you've been very nice to all the fans. So I've always seen that. And not every player is.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of players don't want to sign autographs. You know that. That's not been.
I don't know why. It's no big deal.
Yeah, but some guys, they don't like to do it. You know that. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know.
I know. Of course.
Yeah. So I mean, you know that a lot of guys don't like to do it. So, but that's never been an issue. So that's how you live. Go place to place to place.
Yeah.
And is this book going to be is this a for-profit book, or is this a book to send a message out?
It's a book to send a message out. Plus, the money will go into my ministry.
Okay.
More than anything, I'm not trying to make money.
The book is Don't Give Up on Me, Shedding Light on Addiction with Darryl Strawberry. The publisher is HenchelHouseBooks.com. So go to Henschel House Publishing Inc., Milwaukee, Wisconsin. They can go on the internet and get the book, right?
Yeah. Shedding Light on Addiction.com.
SheddingLightOnAddiction.com. Yeah. Don't Give Up on Me with Darryl Strawberry. I'm just going to read the dedication. This book is dedicated to all those who never gave up on me, in hopes that this book will help others never give up on their loved ones who suffer from this terrible brain disease of addiction. And so you think all addictions are a disease? Everyone, no matter what it is that they're addicted to, you think everyone is a disease?
It's an illness.
Do you classify all of them the same?
Food, sex, that's an addiction.
Gambling,
that's an addiction. All of it. All of
drugs,
it across the board.
Booze,
drugs,
everything.
Booze, wine. I mean, we all have something.
Right.
If we don't believe we don't have something, then something's wrong with us, because you just don't live here and you don't not have anything. We all have been through something. We all will go through something. And none of us is perfect. It was only one perfect one. His name was Jesus. He hung on the cross. So the rest of us are all sinners saved by grace. And we just need to understand that. You stop pointing fingers at people and blaming people for this and that. We all do something, and that's just the nature of what we live in, Mike.
When was the darkest day? What year was the darkest time for you?
Well,
I mean, what year when did you hit rock bottom? What was the worst?
It was quite a
was it LA years? The LA years?
It probably when it was probably when I ended up in a Florida State prison because of addiction. I had a T17169, and it probably was the best thing that happened to me, because I got a chance to open my eyes up and see how far you can really go down.
How long did you spend in the jail?
I spent 11 months in the Florida State prison.
I didn't realize you were there for 11 months. Really? What was the crime?
Drug addiction. There was addiction.
But that's not. I thought they didn't put people in jail for that.
That's what they did. They wanted to make something out of me, but they did. They made more than.
So you actually went in. You were incarcerated for 11 months.
I was. So they made, they wanted to make me as an example, but you know what? It was the greatest gift that could ever happen.
Where were you, in Florida?
Yeah, in Gainesville, in the Florida State prison. People thought I was scared to go to prison. I'm not scared of nothing, Mike. I've been through a lot. I'm sure
prison was scary.
No, it wasn't scary for me. There's a lot of thugs in there, but I was.
Yeah. Dedication. This book is dedicated to all those who never gave up on me, in hopes that this book will help others never give up on their loved ones who suffer from this terrible brain disease of addiction. And so you think all addictions are a disease? Everyone, no matter what it is that they're addicted to, you think everyone is a disease?
It's an illness.
Do you classify all of them the same?
Food, sex, that's an addiction.
Gambling,
that's an addiction. All of it. All of
drugs,
it across the board.
Booze,
drugs,
everything.
Booze, wine. I mean, We all have something.
Good.
You know, if we don't believe we don't have something, then something's wrong with us, because you just don't live here and you don't not have anything. We all have been through something. We all will go through something. And none of us is perfect. It was only one perfect one. His name was Jesus. He hung on the cross. So the rest of us are all sinners saved by grace. And we just need to understand that. You stop pointing fingers at people and blaming people for this and that. You know, we all do something, and that's just the nature of what we live in, Mike.
When was the darkest day? What year was the darkest time for you?
Well,
I mean, what year when did you hit rock bottom? What was the worst?
It was quite a
was
few
it LA
years.
years? The LA years?
It probably when it was probably when I ended up in a Florida State prison because of addiction. I had a T17169, and it probably was the best thing that happened to me, because I got a chance to open my eyes up and see how far you can really go down.
How long did you spend in the jail?
I spent 11 months in the Florida State prison.
I didn't realize you were there for 11 months.
Yeah.
Really? What was the crime?
Drug addiction. There was addiction.
But that's not. I thought they didn't put people in jail for that.
That's what they did. They wanted to make something out of me, but they did. They made more than.
So you actually you were incarcerated for 11 months?
I was. So they wanted to make me as an example, but you know what? It was the greatest gift that could ever happen.
Where were you, in Florida?
Yeah, in Gainesville, in the Florida State prison. People thought I was scared to go to prison. I'm not scared of nothing, Mike. You know, I've been
I'm
through
sure
a lot.
prison was scary.
No, it wasn't scary for me. There's a lot of thugs in there, but I was a good thug myself. I come from the streets, so
I couldn't. That sounds scary to me, to ever walk in a place like that. I'm telling you right now, that sounds like a scary.
Hey, you're so fun, Mike. But I go back into prisons now.
I wouldn't mind going in and talking to them. I just don't want to stay there.
Yeah.
I want to go home at night. I just don't want them to leave me there. I don't want to be there for a couple of days.
I go in there now in the maximum security prisons. I've been in a prison called.
I can't imagine when they close the door. Yeah. I can't imagine what that feels like.
I've been able to go in there and preach now with the guys, and these guys got life and death row, and I've been able
death row guys.
Yeah, I've been on death row, and I've been in prisons now where they have life and never getting out, and they've been in there since they're 18 years old. And
jeez,
it's some stories. There's some stories I get to hear now.
So don't give up on me. SheddingLightOnAddiction.com, Darryl Strawberry. And again, maybe we'll find a little forgiveness for the Mets somewhere along the way. What do you think? Maybe. Keep the door open. What the heck?
Hey, if he ever wants to talk, I'll talk.
There you go. See, we already made a step then. Look at that.
But he's going to have to make that step.
Gotcha.
All right.
Well, listen, good luck with the book.
All right.
Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Darryl Strawberry at 3 o'clock. Back after this.
IT orchestration stories from CDW. A research company has lots of data, maybe too much data. It's a classic case of data overload. So CDW orchestrated a game-changing technology transformation for them using Intel-powered servers, notebooks, and tablets. Now they can analyze big data faster and turn data overload into data insights. Accelerated Insights by Intel. IT orchestration by CDW. Learn more at CDW.